Good morning, everybody. It's John from Veganism KILLS. It's 9:38 a.m. on this sunny Friday, February 18th. Today, we're going to talk about this eco-terrorist called David Rams once again, because there's been developments from inside his community about his tendencies to be violent. Now, YouTube, for some reason, chose to ignore our warnings that this guy is inciting violence because David turned around and said it was satire. Yet in the same video, if you scroll down, you would see that some of his supporters were making comments on that video saying that they should plan or premeditate a murder to somebody that works in the meat industry to prove their point that animals are sentient and need to be extended the same rights as a human being, and that the person who killed the other person, murdered them, was only doing it in self-defense of an animal. That's how sick this person is. And not only did he never removed the comment, he never told them, no, hey, look, this is a bad idea, don't put that on in my comments field. No, what happened? They actually thumbs up it. Now, I myself am a survivor of terrorism, okay? And I used to have to deal with it on a daily basis. I watched my friends lose their family. I watched people lose their relatives. I lost relatives myself due to acts of terrorism. YouTube itself should know all about terrorism when in 2018 a vegan extremist came onto their property, wounded 3 of their employees, and then turned a gun on themselves and killed themselves. There's a reason why I put this in my description. People with plant-based diet were twice as likely to take prescription drugs for mental illness and 3 times as likely to contemplate suicide. Well, 2018 proved that statement was absolutely 110% undeniably true. So YouTube, if one of these vegan extremists go to your headquarters because you pissed them off some way, and they dose out their brand of acceptable punishment or justice upon your staff, the rest of us will take it as satire. But in the meantime, what this guy is telling people to go on farmers' property and steal the livestock and or kill the farmer? And then you wonder why when a farmer in the UK, he's on a video, making comments on a video, when the farmer comes out and sees a whole bunch of these vegan activists on his property, pretending to be health officials, and he finds out they're not and starts kicking their ass, David's going to wonder why. Because more than likely, for them to engage in criminal trespass, the next level in crime, which is maybe hurt the farmer, his family, steal his livestock, is only a small step away. I would have beat their ass too. And the worst part about this, he's condoning this worldwide. In the United States, if you go onto a farmer's property, criminal trespass, and you do not have permission, and that farmer shoots you dead dog, dead on the spot, nothing's going to happen to that farmer. Because you're an intruder on their property. And the sheriff's going to get a call from the farmer. I just killed an intruder on my property. I told him to get off. He didn't. And he came toward me and I shot and killed him. And you know what happens? It's a wrap. It's plastic and bedtime for Bozo. A permanent dirt nap. That's why I do not like this guy being on YouTube, because he's influencing kids to throw themselves away for an ideal that's idiotic. Now, you can judge a person, from me looking on the outside and looking inside, it looks bad just by watching his videos. But it's not just people that are outside the vegan community complaining about him. There's people inside the vegan community are complaining about him and his ideals and his incitements toward violence. And they have come in there and started putting in comments and they're telling me the experience that they're having with this guy. And it's not pretty. He's got all the warnings, all the triggers that tell you that, hey, there's something wrong with this guy. Maybe we should investigate what he's saying. He's condoning violence, he's condoning criminal acts against people who don't want to abide by his ideology. It's not the law that these people are breaking. You see, David's a law unto himself. And I'll show you. This is from inside the vegan community that they started to know David's odd behaviors. What are you going to do, YouTube? Gil Ness. I'm vegan. But nobody's going to have a problem with her because she's not forcing other people to become vegan with threats of violence. So nobody's going to have a problem with Gil. I want you to read along her experience with David and his fucking mob. I'm vegan and was in his Discord for a short time. And there's a reason why she was in there for a short time. Someone asked me if I would dress up my child and take them out in public, to which I responded that I want to adopt the child. Admirable, there's lots of children that need loving parents. When you raise a child, you give of yourself, your time, your money, basically a chunk of yourself, to raise a productive citizen in the future, to leave another candle of light in this world when you depart. Give them nice clothes and want them to make friends. You know, when you give your child nice clothes and you want them to make friends, you're making them more socially acceptable, the child. Okay? And nice clothes shows that you actually will give more of yourself than average to make sure your child is more presentable. It shows that the child has a parent with good intentions, rather than dressing your kid in rags. David would know nothing of that because he hates people. He's damaged goods. David said that's child exploitation, and they don't deserve to be a mother. So taking care of a child is exploitation. So leaving the kid at the adoption center to probably go from foster home to foster home and end up in jail is a better choice, apparently, to David. Knowing David, he probably thinks that the child is better off dead. Since then, I started noticing really problematic behavior towards others. I'll read the thing again, YouTube. Since then, I started noticing really problematic behaviors toward others. She's talking about David. She's a vegan, and they're noticing really problematic behaviors toward others. Red flag, YouTube, red flag! He used to be employed by an animal rights organization but was fired. Gee, I wonder why an animal rights organization fired David. Have you checked YouTube? No, you're just going to let him incite violence and then use the cover that it's satire, while his followers openly contemplate premeditated murder in the comments of his YouTube channel, and it gets a thumbs up. No red flag there, huh, YouTube? He calls himself the White Gandhi. Not only does this guy show exhibits to be violent, he's actually given himself like a deity status. The White Gandhi. He's better than everybody else. He knows everything. He encompasses it all. Sadly, I'm really not surprised that he's encouraging people to incite violence. Nobody's surprised. This is from the vegan community. They're not surprised. He calls himself the White Gandhi. Have you ever watched Jim Jones? See what he did to his community? That's why they don't want him in it. This guy thinks he's Jesus on earth, the White Gandhi he's calling himself. He will never apologize or be able to see why that is wrong because David legitimately believes that he's always right and has power over others. I don't know how many red flags YouTube has to see that this is coming from directly from his own community, that they're noticing really problematic behavior. And the animal rights organization probably fired him over that. And he's calling himself the White Gandhi. And he's telling people to go out under the guise of satire to murder people, And YouTube has no problem with it after dealing with some of the employees almost getting murdered by a vegan activist. What the fuck is wrong with YouTube? And on that note, I'm out of here. I gotta go answer my door.